Tyler Perry is never beating the allegations that he hyperfixates on Black women in questionable wigs suffering. So it was no surprise that many people promised to not watch the top-ranked film on Netflix of his, Straw. But is that right? Is it the same old suffering, or did he actually flip the script here? I have two reasons to believe he tricked you, and it's not because of the plot twist at the end. The movie Straw, at face value, looks like it might be playing into the stereotype that people have about Tyler Perry's work. Taraji P. Henson's character, Janiyah, is on her last straw. Sweating, struggling, a single mom with absolutely no support, things are rough out here. For the 92%, currently leaning into brunch, rejuvenation, restoration, naps, this is not necessarily the narrative that we find entertaining at the moment. Because we know how this story ends. There's a reason we understand why the movie and the books, A Series of Unfortunate Events, were about white people. Because Black people don't typically survive a series of unfortunate events. But Tyler Perry kind of calls our bluff and does the specific script story arc change that destabilizes us as the audience. So whether you watch a film or not, it goes into the culture, and then it either affirms or challenges a particular set of social narratives that are part of that society. Those narratives, they make up the ideas we have about each other as members of society. The strong Black woman identity, the suffering Negro, the angry Black woman, the hardworking, resilient Black women who rise above it all. That's an identity that is constructed in collaboration with both the past and the present. Cultural memory, social norms, social narratives, they make up how our brains process each other. That recognition, social recognition we have when we first see somebody and in a split second put them in a category or make sense of who they are in relationship to us. That split-second categorization is what determines how people see you, what they think you're owed, and more critically, what they think you could survive. As a side note, that's critical to why parents want their Black children to see positive representations of themselves, like Doc McStuffins or even Olivia Pope. Straw recognizes the plight of so many Black women who, for generations, were used by this country and then left to flounder when they couldn't extract free labor out of them. And also, something of note is Tyler Perry's own past is not past. It is still something that he thinks about, it's something that he minds, and it's something that is very present in how he understands his relationship to the Black community. That abuse, suffering, pain, his triumph, all of that is a legitimate and valid source of information for his artwork. What Tyler Perry witnessed in his particular Black community with the pervasiveness of poverty that came from white supremacy, it's valuable. It's worth telling stories about. Because there is no generational wealth for Janiyah to tap into. There is no non-racist medical healthcare system where she could freely give birth to her baby and then get the fair kind of equitable care that she needed. There's been no reparations for the trillions of dollars stolen from her family for their free labor. Can she afford to sue her abusive boss? Absolutely not. And as one of the aunties said in this film, it's really expensive to be poor in America. This is an unfortunate and uncomfortable truth. For two main reasons, this is not an ordinary Black trauma video. If you'd like to watch the movie without any spoilers, I do allude to some here, so save this video and come back. If this was a typical Black trauma film, you would have a woman who was desperate, pushed to the edge, followed all the rules to a T, and then made one mistake and then paid for that with her Black life. Because in this country, that's the cost of making a mistake while Black. We don't get elected president when we evade our taxes. We don't get pardons when we try to protest and overturn a fair and free election. We wear hoodies in the rain and we die. We have a busted taillight, we get executed. We protest peacefully and get kicked in the head. Normally, we would see Janiyah trying to do everything she can to get that $40 for her daughter's overdue lunch and try to keep that apartment, and it would all fall apart under a legal system that wasn't built for her. When the police and the FBI arrive at that bank where she finds herself with somebody else's pew-pew and now she's holding people hostage, she would not have walked out of there hand in hand with another Black woman alive. Would Janiyah be handcuffed gently by a fellow Black detective who got rid of a racist and violent cop so she would feel safe enough to come out? In most movies, Black people live because they follow the rules. In this film, Janiyah abandons the system, becomes lawless, and still lives. I was fully expecting her to be killed. Because in my mind, this story has no other possible ending. Yet Janiyah demands over and over again that the authorities understand her circumstances, that her life matters, and that her story needs to be listened to. She insists that her circumstances are too complicated to be understood by the authorities who see things in black and white. She insists on bodily safety and connects with other Black women throughout the film to actually get that. And that ties into my second point, which is the presence and the casting of other Black women in this film that complicate this idea of what it means to be a Black woman. Normally, Janiyah would be the only or main Black woman in this film, and if there were other Black women, they would all be in the same indistinct circle of hell suffering that she's in. Referencing another Tyler Perry movie, these women would have been seen as the one big black brick wall that was managing to withstand all this suffering. One of the first things I noticed was that this film was heavily populated with other Black women who are thriving, who are happy, who love their husbands, or who have other hard lives, but not as hard as hers. Hooray, there were some beautiful hairstyles that no one's gonna mock on the internet. We learned that Nicole, the branch manager, has a fancy brick home in the suburbs and a loving husband who buys her expensive things. We had a cool, calm, and collected Black cashier who knew Janiyah, who offered to help her. We had Black ladies in house dresses with their hair wrapped, running around like crazy. You had Black women who were older and retired and just going to the bank that evening, and some of them agreed with what she had to say and some of them didn't. And there was just this diversity of Black womanhood just going about their lives and happening to run into this woman who they had some kind of empathy for or judged harshly due to their own choices. Detective Raymond, who's played by Tiana Taylor, even advocates for and connects with Janiyah throughout the course of the movie. There's no Black monolith here. There were more Black women than white women even in this film, and there was no singular Black response to what Janiyah was doing, right? This Black community had mixed feelings about her actions. There was anger and sympathy, there was disgust and also understanding, there was fear and also this hope for her. She's not a good victim. She's not entirely innocent, and she doesn't follow all the rules, but people still think she deserves to live. She does not have to be fully understood or perfect to be given her life. And believing that, that's more than most people will ever give Black women. Straw rewrites this story in an unexpected way, while also being very realistic and understanding of the reality that a lot of Black women in this country still face. There's more to this film. It's absolutely fair to criticize it and to discuss it and talk about it, but I would ask that we look at Janiyah's character not as a stereotype, but actually a subversion of one. I would encourage us to judge this film solely on the execution of the character created and the cast that was brought forward to surround that particular performance. I am really looking forward to hearing what you think.